And in 2019, when the Contractors Association looked throughout America, they said there's one mayor. There's one mayor who's not only worked in his city, but crisscrossed throughout this nation, doing the work that he's supposed to do to bring us together. Aurora, let me see you stand on your feet as we bring to the podium, as he announces his candidacy, the winner of the 2019 Thurgood Legacy Award of the Year, the one, the only, the Honorable Richard C. Irvin!
Wow. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Brother, can you turn up this mic just a little bit for me? Suave. My name is Richard C. Irvin, and I am the mayor of Aurora. As many of you know, I've worked long and hard to be able to say those 6 little words. I am Mayor of Aurora. But I hope you also know that I have worked even harder to prove to you that I deserve to say those words. And that I deserve to say those words for another 4 years. What do you think? You know, in almost 4 years, it's almost been 4 years that I stood on the stage of the historic Paramount Theater, just to the west of us, for my inauguration as mayor, with the intent to excite and inspire the city to work toward a prosperous future where the possibilities are endless. The majestic Paramount Theater provided a backdrop of what an over 100-year-old institution and structure could look like if we simply imagined the possibilities together. If we imagined where we could take Aurora, a 180-year-old city, together. When I stood on that stage those short years ago, I said that now is the time for us to build our future on the foundation of Aurora's greatness. I said that now is the time to build Aurora together through our story by marketing, attracting development and new growth, and extending our technological reach. I say, now is the time for us to build one Aurora together. Thank you. Now, as I stood on that stage, I advised that we need to get there by walking hand in hand down a pathway that I built. A pathway to yes. Yes to safe communities and safe streets. Yes to good schools and prosperous neighborhoods. Yes to much needed economic boosts and good jobs. As I stood on that historic stage and proclaimed that we must change our mindset and believe in yes for us to reach our lofty goals. Well, I'm here to tell you, I'm here to report that almost 4 years later, and because of you, the people of Aurora, we have changed our mindset. And we here at Aurora are on our way to the greatest success promised all those years ago. Because of all of us, we are working hard to rebuild Aurora together. We have made Aurora shine again. And yes, we are shining oh so brightly. On that day in May 2017, we made history together. And we've been moving as fast and productive a pace ever since. From the historic stage of the Paramount Theater to today, the historic yet contemporary Water Street Mall, the heart of downtown. The progress we have made together as a city is represented right here in this mall. Much like the Fox River, Water Street Mall is a connector of the east and the west parts of our community. Once never talked about, it certainly has become a part of our conversation. Water Street Mall represents the importance of downtown and why downtown is so key to the success of other parts of our city. But for many years, this beautiful strip here was underutilized and an unfocused part of our downtown. Its rebirth is symbolic of what can happen with a little vision and some hard work in a relatively short amount of time. We are here on Sunday afternoon in Water Street Mall. This is something that wasn't even thought of, unheard of, just a few years ago. Now this space shows how we can move from potential to reality, just as we have done for the last 4 years, and plan to continue for the next 4 years. When I look around our community, I remember all the promises made when I took office. The promises that have been kept on that pathway to yes, that we continue to travel together, even despite the challenges that are impacting the nation and our world. When I took office, one of my first projects was to rehab this very mall. Little did I know that it would define my first term as mayor in this office. You know, we first installed the overhead Italian lights that you see when you walk by at night. Not only did it brighten up a dark place, but it let people know that we're safe at all times. And the commitment to public safety was one of my 3 key priorities. Today, Aurora is a safer community. Our crime rates are down, and we are not that old gang-banging, shoot-em-up town that we once were years ago. When we see an uptick in any area, we address it right away. That is why you see more people and more gatherings all over our city, on patios, throughout our community, just like enjoying life, just like we're doing today. We've increased the number of police and firefighters to the point where we have more public safety personnel on staff than ever in the history of our city. Let's give our public safety personnel a round of applause. I see representatives from the fire union and police union here. Great, brother. Absolutely. They have been pivotal in maintaining our safety in these uncertain and unprecedented times. You know, after we started the rehab projects here in the mall, the very first public event was a youth event planned by young leaders of a nonprofit organization called Meaningful Summers. As they planned their annual community event, they had been watching the rehabilitation of Water Street Mall and proposed to host their event here, right here. They represent my administration's commitment to education and youth development, another one of my key priorities. We established, during my tenure, the Aurora Youth Advisory Council to give students a voice to assist in their city's growth and prosperity. We established the Aurora Education Commission, bringing together all our school districts, parochial schools, colleges, and universities to ensure that every child had an equal educational opportunity. I recruited a young teacher who was born and raised right here in Aurora and hired him as our new Youth Services Director. And on average, I visited more than 40 schools throughout our city each and every year. But it didn't stop there. When we did see an uptick in violence, particularly with our young black and brown youth, I rallied the troops to form the Aurora Mentoring Alliance, bringing together more than 20 youth mentoring and leadership programs in Aurora to benchmark best practices and find innovative ways to keep our youth on the right track. Let's give our young people a round of applause. They are the future of our city, and they deserve the voice. And while the students were the first ones to use this location for social purposes, it was the venue to open the first business. It not only brought a new focus on the arts and entertainment to our downtown, it showed the power of bringing dead buildings to life. That facility, right at the end of Water Street Mall, was scheduled to be torn down. But I stepped in early in my administration to form a deal with the Fox Valley Music Foundation to take ownership of that building and bring it back to life. The venue added a growing art scene in Aurora, and it has grown by leaps and bounds during my first term. Now on a weekend night, you can take a stroll down Water Street Mall to have dinner, hear more, while listening to sounds of blues and jazz in the background. The Paramount had continued to thrive prior to COVID and will remain so after COVID. We will ensure that Paramount is successful after COVID's over. COVID will not last forever. This is a short period in time, and we're going to make sure this city continues is successful once we're past it. The reason is that Paramount has continued to thrive and expand its offerings with new Paramount School of Arts as a project I voted on as an alderman and was honored to host a groundbreaking during my first year and a ribbon cutting last year. Just the same, our River Edge Park, our outdoor venue that holds 8,500 people for concerts in our summertime. We're gonna get that back on track. What we've done since my tenure, we've seen more diverse and talented pool of entertainment since I took office. We are working to try to get Snoop Dogg back for next summer since that didn't work out. Since it didn't work out this summer. Y'all give it up for Snoop. He's coming back to Aurora one way or the other. You know, just a few short weeks, the new pedestrian bridge at the park will be open, ushering in a new development in downtown. You know, I must say, the venue and musical entertainment location has helped to bring new life and diversity and other entertainment options in our community. And it has brought new life to our Water Street Mall, just as Moore is doing now. And it also helped to spur new partnerships, just like many of the other initiatives over the last 4 years. Now, the newly created Monday Park, also at the south of Water Street Mall, is an example of those new partnerships and the domino effect when we see development happen in our community. Once we rehabbed the mall, put up lights and announced plans for the new music venue, I received a call from Mr. Wally Monday, wanting to do his part to renovate the park adjacent to the venue, named after his mother, as a compliment to the entertainment waiting to happen. We opened the park last summer along with other parks throughout our city, including Mastodon Lake, Playground at Phillips Park, new parks in the 6th Ward, and right here on the east of us. A new park is being planned, right over there, right here, that we're going to be calling Skinny Park or Building Park. And there's more to come. There's going to be green space, open lands, and overall beautification are important to this administration, and we continue to focus on doing what is best for our environment while beautifying our community. One drive through downtown, and you'll see how beautifying an area will help bring pride back to a community. We hear constantly from visitors and residents how beautiful things are in Aurora. This is the new Aurora. This is the new day in Aurora. You know, because no one can visit every place in Aurora all at once. If you look right down this path, also at the end of Water Street Mall, to the south entrance, there's a City Post digital kiosk, one of 8 installed in the downtown. This particular kiosk was the first one installed, a symbol of the smart city technology we have implemented in Aurora over the past 4 years. In less than 4 years, Aurora has gone from being just a city of lights to the city of light speed. Now, one of my first hires was my chief innovation officer, who hit the ground running. Go ahead, raise your glass, Mike B. Yeah. That brother hit the ground running and has won multiple awards throughout the country for his vision for our city. We have revamped our IT department to better serve the community and save more than $1 million in the process. We have launched the 605 Innovation District, ushering in a new era of smart city technology to the city of Aurora. We have worked with the underserved communities to provide laptops, iPads, and tech opportunities to our youth and our young families. We have increased the capacity of our fiber optic network throughout the city from 60 square miles to 100 square miles to in places where we reach up to 200 square miles. We have the capacity and capability to access Chicago and become a magnet for tech companies, including the national and international headquarters of major giants like Scientel Solutions, Neotech, and so many more. Not only in the tech industry growing in Aurora, we have seen other industries do the same at rates once unimaginable, only in 4 years. Thank you. And that proof is right here with more. We get a shout out to Jason Barala, the owner of Aurora, and Avenue Park and Prime. and their whole team, for bringing the vision to reality in spite of the pandemic. Moore is an example of the intense economic development that has happened over the past 4 years. As one old school Auroran said, "I've lived here for more than 50 years, and I have never seen this type of development ever before." Last year in 2019 alone, we had 45 ribbon cuttings in Aurora, compared to 7, that's 45, compared to 7 total 5 years before in 2014. Let me take you for a quick tour, starting on the east side of Aurora and concluding right here in our downtown. On our east side, Copley Hospital being redeveloped and revitalized after a quarter of a century of falling into ruins. On our west side, West Plaza and Orchard Road, as Orchard Road corridor continues to grow with many retail options. Our far east side, Fox Valley Mall, a new plan for a one-of-a-kind lifestyle mall right here in Aurora. Pacifica Square, the largest Asian mall of its kind in the country, right here in Aurora. 4 years. Right here downtown. Options nearly on every corner for restaurants, Mora, Altero, Amy Morton's, and so many more to come. Bringing old buildings to life with retail space and residential spaces of 1,500 residential apartments planned for our downtown. Never heard of before. And that includes developments that are already underway, some of them already completed, like 80 South River, high-end market rate apartments. The Keystone Building, give it up for high-end market rate apartments. This is my two kids in here today, 80 South River, as well as County Hospital. The 40-year-old empty Hobbs Building, 40 years been empty. It's about to be redeveloped with the new high-end market rate apartments right here in Aurora. Come on. And after 60 years of being dark, the Terminal Building right over here on our main street on Broadway and Galena right here in Aurora. 60 years being dark. We've done this in less than 4 years here in the city of Aurora. Let's talk more about our future of downtown. The Fox River is a draw for even more residential development. The East Bank and the West Bank developments are on the rise. We are currently working on a development agreement for a new construction of high-end market rate apartments on our East Bank as we speak. Here is the reality of Aurora. And here is our reality of Aurora. We made promises 4 years ago. I made promises. We have kept those promises and even surpassed them. This is not just about promises made and promises kept. This is about promises made, promises kept, and promises continued into the future. Even with all the things that we have done together, we are just beginning. As I said in my 2020 State of the City address, nearly 6 months ago, seems like a lifetime. I know some of us were there. We focused on the 3 R's: renewal, redevelopment, and revitalization. Now it's time to focus on a 4th R, the Renaissance. And the Renaissance must continue here in Aurora. Give it up for the Renaissance. My team is more energized, and I got some of my team members here. My Chief of Staff, Alex Alexandru, my Assistant Chief of Staff, Alice Boyd, my Office Manager, Maria Lindsay, and of course, y'all know the great Clayton Muhammad. And let's not forget, everybody loves my Deputy Mayor, Chuck Nelson. We're more energized, more empowered, and more experienced in municipal innovation than ever before. It takes more than serving on the city council for 1 term or on a county board of 1 school district. It takes a team, internally and externally, locally, regionally, and nationally, to get the job done. Yes. Thank you. As I feel all parts of Aurora, I can feel it. as I meet with other leaders throughout the Chicagoland, they comment on Aurora, I can feel it. As we travel the country with my fellow mayors and leaders in state and federal government, they know and want to talk about Aurora. I can feel it. But not only can I feel it, I can see it. Now, I have a question for you. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you see it just by looking around? Can you see the change? Aurora has changed for the better in less than 4 years. And similar to a kid in high school, we are soon to graduate this 4 years, but we can't let it stop there. It can't stop there. Let's take it up a level, to the college level, to the trade school level, to the military level, to the entrepreneurship level. We have to go higher, much like Aurora is doing, literally taking things up to the next level and opening up the possibilities to the heavens above. And by God's grace, from heaven, to all of us working to do all the work we can here on earth, we together can get the job done. As the pandemic hit us hard, we adjusted. And even moving forward with more innovation and enterprise. A global call for racial reckoning has impacted our city, but we were not afraid to change and commit and connect with our community to heal those wounds. We are Aurora, the city of lights, Mike, the city of light speed, the city that was once counted out, but clearly has not been shut down. We are never down for the count. Well, I'm going to say this now, and I hope I can say it for the next 4 years. I am Richard C. Irvin. I am the proud mayor of my hometown, Aurora. And as we conclude our year of our first term, I look forward to working with you during my second term. I'll see you at the polls in April, and I look forward to being sworn in the following month in May. With your help, we will make this vision reality. We will continue to be one Aurora. Woo!